They Shall Not Grow Old is the 2018 historical documentary created by Peter Jackson. The film, created to celebrate 100 years since the war ended, was made in partnership with the British Imperial War Museum. Jackson, who is famously known for writing, directing, and producing the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, says that the Imperial War Museum approached him to make a documentary. He could do whatever he wanted, but he had to use their footage. What came from that was a documentary chronicling what it was like to be a soldier, completely narrated by British soldiers from archived interviews. The thing is, that footage doesn't exactly look like it did 100 years ago. Peter Jackson decided to digitally enhance the footage by adding color and sound. Are we rewriting history by replacing these original images? Or are we bringing new light to these images to share history with a new generation? In this video, I will be analyzing the historical significance of the film and analyzing the controversy of coloring and digitally enhancing black and white film. First, let's talk about photographs. Colorizing photographs has been around since the invention of photography in 1836. Photographers would paint on top of photos they took for their customers. Later, photography became a three-toned color process that evolved into the full-color photography we have today. For film, that was the same. They were originally black and white, but when color was wanted, each cell was colored until Technicolor came around and evolved into the color we have today. Obviously, They Shall Not Grow Old has an incredible historical significance because it pieces together primary sources from the war and brings them to life. But how can we be sure that this enhancement of the film was accurate? Does colorization make the film even more significant? To find that out, deeper digging needed to go into the process of colorization. According to Oxbridge Applications, colorizing photos is a labor-intensive process that requires extensive research and collaborations with historians and experts to identify the exact colors that would have been present, as well as detailed knowledge of how lighting affects color, and the ability to realistically convey complex structures such as human skin with layer upon layer of color for a nuanced effect. Dynamichrome is a leading colorization company that has been featured in National Geographic and People, among others. On their website, they describe their colorizing process in 6 stages. The first stage is appraisal and evaluation. They need to analyze photographs to see what they're working with. After that, they move on to restoration and reconstruction. Before color is even a thought, they have to create a blank canvas for themselves, meaning they have to do an intensive digital clean of any damages to the photograph. They also might reconstruct any abnormalities in the photo as well. Next, they block color. At this stage, they create layers upon layers in their editing programs to get places ready for color. The number of layers depends on each photograph. They can range anywhere from hundreds to thousands of layers. Finally, after all of that preemptive work, they begin their historical research on the colors. Dynamichrome says they will look into different satellite imageries through reference books and archives and get in touch with experts to collect the most accurate color possible. Before adding any color, they move on to stage 5, which is matching references. Here, they take real items and color match them to the photograph. In They Shall Not Grow Old's case, there are still many uniforms around and they can easily color match those pieces. After the whole photo is colorized, they finish it off with stage 6, bringing it all together. Additional contrast changes for certain areas are made to balance the entire shot, in addition to color filters and other tweaks, adding that final polish to the entire photograph. For They Shall Not Grow Old, the colorizing process was close to this, and they also used other bits of digital enhancement to fix the old film to make it more lifelike. Sound was also added. They also had language experts come and read the lips of soldiers in the film, leading to some very funny moments from the people fascinated with the new cameras.
Come on, get in.
They're taking our photo.
You look good. Yeah.
Colorizing film and photography does have critics, however. Sometimes colors cannot be found and colorists have to make an artistic choice. This can lead to the colorized photograph or film not being 100% accurate. The viewers of the photo or film are also unknowing of what element may be a part of an artist's choice. Critics also argue that colorizing photos is just bad taste. It takes away from the history. Digitally enhancing film, I believe, doesn't necessarily make it a more viable historical record. Clearly, the original film would be the most accurate, but it does bring the experiences of the soldiers into the eyes of a contemporary audience through its modern appeal. Enhancing the footage along with taking the recordings of soldiers talking about their experiences over it is a fantastic way to put the two mediums together in an easily digestible way. It helps convey the atmosphere and lifestyle that the soldiers led. Peter Jackson himself says that if filmmakers in 1918 had the choice between black and white and colored film, they'd choose color. Another argument for colorizing is that the original film is not being destroyed at all. It's still available in its primary form. I think a great homage was paid to the original footage at the beginning and the end of They Shall Not Grow Old. It begins in black and white and is slowly colorized, symbolizing that we, the audience, are being taken back to the past. In the end, the original black and white footage is brought back, symbolizing the end of our journey with the soldiers as we come back to the present. I think that this movie did a fantastic job of bringing the Great War to life for the 100-year anniversary of its end. While it only showed the side of a British soldier, they also did mention their real interactions with German soldiers as well. I think that it was a great point to add even if they didn't concentrate on the German side at all. I believe when it comes to the controversy of digital enhancement and colorization, there is nothing wrong with it as long as you get to see the original with it. Enhanced photos should never replace the originals as a primary source. They should always be supplementary. They Shall Not Grow Old is a fantastic film to see regardless.